Kaya, thank you very much indeed. So we did indicate that President Cyril Ramaphosa is participating in the Cairo Peace Summit, having been invited by the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi. Let's speak now to SABC News International Editor Sophie Mukwena, who's closely following this event and joins us via our hybrid connection. Sophie, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Let's start by providing some insights into the key objectives and themes of this Cairo Peace Summit and why South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, that attendance of his is significant at this time.
His attendance is quite significant in the sense that South Africa has been involved in peace initiatives, not only on the continent but around the world. You would recall that he was involved in the island question, and you also know that we were involved in the Libyan question when there was that Lockerbie bombing. And you know that on the continent, the post-1994 democratic governments, different governments, have been involved on the peace processes on the continent, be it Burundi, be it the DRC, the issues that had to do with Ivory Coast, with Liberia, and Sudan question, South Sudan, and therefore South Africa has been involved. And South Africa is quite an important voice on the continent. But secondly, South Africa's position has been clear in relation to the foreign policy of the country that is anchored around peace. And I think President Sisi felt that he should invite President Ramaphosa to be part of this big meeting or summit that is happening in Cairo as we speak.
And those are actually visuals that we're showing you of President Cyril Ramaphosa arriving in Cairo for that peace summit. So what can you tell us about the bilateral relations between South Africa and Egypt and how this might, how this summit might impact those ties?
I think South Africa has got a good relationship with Egypt. And you know that even during the BRICS summit, there was a strong delegation from Egypt. Egypt has also indicated that they want to join BRICS, and this announcement was made under South Africa. So clearly, there has been that good relationship. I remember last year when I was in Somerset, where there was a COP27 summit, the Minister of Environment of South Africa had a good rapport with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Egypt, where they were pushing for an agreement that even led to issues that are related to loss and damages agreement. And therefore, I think that relationship is quite cordial, and it will continue to be cordial now with South Africa supporting Egypt in its quest to ensure that they find a solution to the Middle East question.
The Middle East question certainly bound to be also a bone of contention, but are there any specific issues or initiatives that President Ramaphosa is expected to address or promote during his participation in the summit?
As we speak, if you can look at the visuals on Reuters as we speak, this morning, finally the humanitarian aid was allowed into Gaza. As we speak, you can see the trucks at the border of Rafah crossing into Gaza, even though only 20 trucks have been allowed thus far. I think the president of South Africa will then pressure those leaders, particularly the ones from Europe, because Europe is going to have a strong representation, and also countries such as those in the Middle East, in the Gulf, will be there, among them the King of Jordan, and of course the leader of Palestine will be there. They will be pushing that more trucks must move into Gaza so that ordinary civilians in Gaza, particularly women and children, who have been the main casualty, caught in a crossfire, can get assistance. We know that people who are dying Israel can say whatever they say, hunting Hamas, but people who are dying in numbers, their toll now has surpassed 4,000. It's children, the future of Palestine and women, because they are helpless and they need help. And I saw the DG of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, talking about these trucks now crossing. The UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, is in that meeting in Cairo, Egypt. I think this is another issue. And I have no doubt, Griselda, you know the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, trusts South Africa so much, its current leadership and its former leadership. And I think that is why Ramaphosa was also invited, because he gets that strength, the SG, when South Africa is speaking. And that is why even yesterday, during the Security Council meeting chaired by Brazil, when they were discussing issues of peace and security around the world, the former South African President, Thabo Mbeki, was requested to make input into the discussions of the Security Council. Indeed. So you can see that the world does trust South Africa on issues related to peace and security, because the country has been very consistent.
Indeed, you spoke about those 20 trucks that are only being allowed in terms of delivering humanitarian aid. There's been criticism that the situation on the ground actually requires more than what is being allowed in terms of those 20 trucks. But in the broader context of international diplomacy, how does the summit contribute towards the ongoing efforts to promote peace and stability in the region and even globally?
You know that the challenge is, much as the attendance is quite good from Europe, from Asia, from the Middle East, and from Africa, the problem is America. If America is not on board, America is going to be a spoiler. America has been a spoiler in a war between Russia and Ukraine. America will be a spoiler in this instance because they stand with Israel. And Israel is clear. I spoke to the Minister of Diaspora and Anti-Semitism. They said the soundbite is there for the world to see and hear. They are hunting Hamas, and even if it takes casualties in relation to citizens of Gaza, that's what they want to do. And therefore, if America doesn't ask and push Israel to hold on so that this aid can come in and there can be negotiations, there can be a temporal ceasefire for negotiations, this meeting will not yield much needed results. And there's no America, because President Biden was snubbed by the Arab League, by the leaders in the region from the Middle East, and therefore I think America doesn't take kind of that, because even El-Sisi, the president of Egypt, and the leader of Palestine pull out, and the king of Jordan pull out when Biden was supposed to meet them.
Sophie Mokoena, thank you very much indeed. Some insights, of course, to this peace summit that President Cyril Ramaphosa is amongst the leaders attending in Cairo, having arrived, the presidency confirming there the importance of this visit in particular. As the crisis rages on in the Middle East, we continue to see pictures being beamed around the world of what is taking place there currently. And certainly the United States of America, its stance, which it has already put forward, as you've indicated. We've also seen some visuals coming out of certain parts in the Middle East where there's been, questions about how there's been reportage on what's taking place in the Middle East. But thank you very much indeed for that, Sophie Mokoena, SABC News International Editor, on President Cyril Ramaphosa's arrival in Cairo to attend that peace summit.